Hello everyone and welcome to XCOM Chimera Squad. So once again this is just me for a Wednesday video going through my backlog of games. This one's been sitting in my Steam library for over a year. I really enjoyed the XCOM games, had a huge amount of fun with them. Really love pretty much all of them, including the Long War mod, which has featured on my channel in the distant past. And decided to give this one a go finally after picking it up in a Steam winter sale and doing the normal thing of then completely forgetting about it. So just wanted to show off exactly what this was all about. So I'm going to be taking a little bit of a different approach to normal. This is not going to be the start of the game, instead I am very much in the comfortable mid-game here, and that does let me show off a little bit more about what's going on. I've just been playing this in my own time, having a lot of fun with it, and so just decided to show it off here. And so what we are in this one is set after the player victory in XCOM 2. So Advent defeated, everyone's happy. Except everyone's not happy because, well, we still have a bunch of aliens on the planet, a bunch of armed people from various factions, all who are arguing over how the planet gets set up. And in particular, we are the Reclamation Squad. We've been sent to this city, City 31, in order to try and help the local police department re-establish law and order, since this is a city that it has a huge alien population that have kind of sort of been integrated with the human population, kind of sort of not integrated, lots of fighting going on. We are there to take out the worst of the crimes going on, try and settle everything down. And nicely we have a whole cast of different people coming along for this one. So let's just jump straight into a mission here. So I'm going to do this Lost and Found mission. So we know that there's an abandoned tech cache, and we are going to head in and try and secure it. Now this is just the little squad that I'm taking with me today. We'll see exactly what each of them do. This certainly isn't the group I normally take. This is just an interesting grouping that I've decided will probably show off quite a lot of the new stuff that comes with Chimera Squad. So here I've got our medic, Terminal, I've got our melee person, Zephyr here, our nice tanky shieldy guy, Cherub, and because I wanted to use the snake person, don't normally take her along, but I'm taking Talk along. She is a snake person. Her job is to be a snake person. We also have Breaker here, not really going to be used on this one. Basically, if you lose a guy, Breaker can come on as reinforcements. By the way, we drive away in our little APC. No fancy jets for us. And so here's the first difference. Each mission, each encounter, in fact, in each mission starts with a breach. We are acting pretty much as special high-tech SWAT here, and so we're always being proactive, we're always heading into situations, and we always breach the room as we're going in. You can see here we've got multiple options of where we can breach, and I can assign my people to them. We've got different advantages and disadvantages. So for example, if I go in through the wall here, well, to go in I need to use explosives, so that's something I need to equip my guys before setting off on the mission. And here I get an advantage that all the non-aggressive enemies become surprised. We'll see what that means in a minute. Or I can just use the main door. The last one going through this is guaranteed to land their shot, but the first one going through will be rooted and stuck. Now I'm going to kind of use both of these. I do have Cherub here with his explosives, so he's going to go through that door, and I'm going to send Zephyr here to back him up. On the other door I'm going to go in with Talk, because I don't mind her being rooted. We'll see why. And then Terminal leading up. I can also change the order of these because turn order is going to be a big part of this. We don't have simultaneous turns like we did in the previous XCOM games, so exactly the order they breach is going to be the order they play in. And I do actually want them starting to breach with Cherub and Zephyr here. I want them to get their turns early. Quite happy for the others to get their turns last. So either way, let's kick things off and breach.
Breaching now.
So, break in the wooden door, blow up a wall. And now we're in breach mode, so each person gets their turn one at a time. And pretty much this is kind of like the ambush feature in XCOM 2. You get to decide what all of your guys are doing. They will all act pretty much at the same time. And we get to try and make a dent on the enemy just while starting here. Now we do have a problem here that some of the enemies are a bit wiser than others. So this guy over here is surprised. That means he's basically not going to do a single thing. He is not a priority target. He is also one of the easier targets to shoot at. This brute, however, and this trooper over here, they are both aggressive. That means if they are not dead by the end of the round, the end of the breach round, they will automatically shoot back, which is a little bit more of an issue. Luckily, I've got Cherub here, and he has the ability to go into phalanx mode once per mission, where he basically draws fire on himself while also being invulnerable, so really useful. I'm going to get him to focus that on the brute, make sure that brute is going to attack him and no one else. Now Zephyr here is a bit unusual in that she actually attacks after the round. I'm going to get her to go punch this guy in the face, but she won't do that till after the round, so she can't stop him doing his attack. On the other side here we've got this Cobra, who is alert. That's kind of the middle ground. What they're going to do is hunker down at the end, so they're going to be harder to hit, but they're not going to shoot back. Now I've got a few different enemies around. They each do their own thing. I would like the Cobra to go down, but I'm not very confident that I'll be able to get that. Instead I want to prioritise this Resonant, who basically buffs his teammates. So want him down as soon as possible. Got 91% chance, pretty good odds. And there we go, get the hit. Now finally I have Terminal here. She does have this 100% chance to hit, which I could use to finish the Resonant. On the other hand, I do really want this Cobra to go down, so I'm going to put some damage on that Cobra. All the shots go in, so I've got a fair number of them severely damaged. And now we get the game proper. So here we have the timeline. This is the order everyone is going to move in, so you can see right now I'm only acting for Cherub. Everyone else is going to go in their own separate turns. So there's a lot less flexibility there. It does really change how you go about playing this game. Now Cherub does have a shot grenade, and the way grenades work in this one is they're actually free actions. They're limited use, so each of your grenades can only be used once per mission, but it does mean that you can just use them freely without ending your turn and without using either of your actions. You are limited to 2 actions, pretty much like all the other XCOM games. And what I'm going to do here, it's kind of a waste. I can't get the perfect shot I would want on this guy over here, but I'm just going to drop this stun grenade on the Resonant. That'll be enough to finish him off. Or it should be. It was also supposed to do damage. Either way, he's stunned for 2. That's him not taking his turn. Now with my second turn here with Cherub, what I'm going to do is put down this kinetic shield. Really useful thing. Basically makes the target invulnerable to the next shot, and when they get shot, it gives him some charges which he can then use to really hurt people with his second move, which is this shield bash, where he runs up and punches a dude. That's exactly what I'm going to do here. Run up. And nicely, that is a non-lethal takedown, which means I capture that guy and can get some intel. We'll hopefully grab some at the end of the mission from that. Over to the enemy turn. Cherub is thankfully heavily armoured, so didn't do too much there. That Soulfire ability they have seems to always hit, which is a bit unfortunate, but still, good little opening start there. Now, I really don't want this Cobra here getting her turn off. They can really do a lot of damage to your entire team very quickly, so instead I'm gonna send Zephyr here to knock them out. They're low on health, so I can get them knocked out nice and easily. And Zephyr has a really nice ability that normally when she uses her crippling blow attack, but I've got her upgraded, so whenever she uses any of her attacks, she gets a momentum move, which she can use to run away. Really useful for a melee person being able to run away. But she also has parry, which also makes her invulnerable. Now she's already got the invulnerability shield around her, so I'm not really fussed about that. What I'm going to do instead is just have her run up to this hitman over here. She's already immortal for a hit, and no matter what he does, she gets a free hit on him as he's trying to leave or trying to shoot, so just let me get an extra little blow in there. So now we're over to Talk. Talk is our snaky person. She is rooted here, so I can't move her. That's not a problem because she is a snaky person. She can draw the enemies to her. That's exactly what I wanted to do. I want her to lock down this brute, and that is what she is really good at, is just disabling high value targets. So she's going to tongue pull that brute. And then she can bind him. Does a tiny bit of damage, but completely incapacitates him. So he was going next, and now he doesn't get to. The Resonant is still stunned, so that is all nice. Now I can't shoot the brute. The team won't shoot for risk of hurting Talk there, but it is a good way of just shutting down particularly hazardous opponents there. Now Terminal here, her real big ability is she's the team medic. She can heal up, and nicely she can do this every single turn. Costs an action, but she will automatically heal, or she will heal someone for 4 hit points. Really nice having her on board. It means you can take a lot of risk and you're not going to get worn down, particularly on the larger missions where you have to go through several encounters. She's really good at keeping the team alive. Now I'm going to use one of her other abilities of cooperation to give Zephyr here a free action, which Zephyr is going to use to knock this guy out, or at least try to, and completely fail. And put her parry on. That means that she's at least locking down that area. Cherub here is going to put his shield on himself. And take a little bit of a long shot here. But he managed to get the hit there. Decent amount of damage. He's got his immortality, so it doesn't matter that he's stood in the middle of nowhere. There we go. Uses up the kinetic shield on him. That gives him another charge, meaning that his next shield charge ability is going to do even more damage. Okay, slightly annoying that guy's doing psionic suplex, which does really hurt if it lands, but I do have a turn to take this guy out, and so he is now my big priority target. So Zephyr's going to go in and punch this guy in the face.
Target out of play.
There we go, rescued him, no longer going to be slammed into the ground. And then she's going to run back to annoy the hitman again. He then tries to move, and as he tries to move, he gets punched. Right, so Talk here, I do have the option. I could release this guy if I want to do something else. I am quite happy just to sustain the bind. Going to do a little bit more damage, keep that guy completely disabled. The Resonant has got up, unfortunately. But he takes a shot at Zephyr. Zephyr still had her shield up, so no issues there. And that's another charge for Cherub. So if he gets within melee range, he is going to do a huge amount of damage. Just going to use Terminal to heal up Torque, just because she's currently the most injured. I like making sure I get a heal off each turn. And then she can run in and subdue the Resident. He's nearly down, so nicely captured. Now, unfortunately, that guy over there is just out of range of Cherub, so I'm not going to be able to get to him this round. What I can do, though, is just put the shield back on, so he's immortal, and then take a little shot. There we go, he's dead. The last guy is bound, and so will automatically be captured. If you've got a guy bound like that, and they're the last one left, it just skips time ahead, essentially, so you capture them. So we go. Few folk lightly wounded. Lightly wounded really doesn't do anything, at least not on the difficulty that I'm playing on. They get fully healed. If they get gravely wounded, they can require treatment afterwards. And because I captured 4 of the enemies, there is an 80% chance that I get 20 intel. For each enemy you capture, you get an extra 20% chance. So if you capture 5 or more, you're guaranteed to get intel, which you can spend on all sorts of things. So yeah, there we go. I did roll and get the 20 intel there, so that is nice. Also, 95 intel for doing the mission, reduces unrest in that area, and so all nice and good.
Here at Burger Palace, we want everyone to enjoy our food. That's why we've kept it simple. It all starts with our patties, ranked a 7 on the cross-species consumability index. But that's not good enough for our customers, so we inject each patty with a flavor bulb of your choice. When it fully gestates, you're ready to see how we turn each 7 into a 10. Burger Palace. New name, new process, same great taste.
So you do get these lovely little radio things each time you return, just to kind of world build. Some of them are quite cute. Some of them are kind of showing you the plot line as it goes on, but a lot of them are just random flavor text or people chatting. And just like all of the other XCOM games, we've got this loop that after doing a mission, we go back to our base. The base is a fair bit more slimmed down. This has definitely been cut down compared to other XCOM games. You still do research in the form of this assembly lab. The kind of logic of why you're having to research stuff is basically we've got this assembler, this fancy future 3D printer. The problem is we've got the old crappy version that was left over from proper XCOM, and so what we're having to do is fiddle around with it to get it to work properly, to get the more fancy stuff printed off of it. So basically, because of budget cutbacks, we have to have a guy sticking their head into this for a few days each time we want to make something new and fancy. But it works the same way as research. It just takes time, slowly unlock things, can assign a guy to it to research a little bit faster. We can send people on these Spec Ops missions, which is quite nice. Just give us little bonuses as we are going around. Just something to do with your agents who are not currently deployed. You can only deploy 4 agents at a time. You can do training. This is, again, quite limited. Mostly this is to heal your guys if they get badly hurt. But here you can see I'm upgrading Verge here, giving them a little bit extra dodge. Each character gets their own little upgrade. As for our characters, got a bunch of them here. These are a lot less customizable than in your previous XCOM games, with the trade-off that they are a lot more character focused. They have their own sense and feel, their own attitude and so on. They're a little less nameless, faceless people and more actual people you're taking around. They each have their own little advantages, their own little playstyles. Some are definitely based on character classes that you would have seen or builds that you would have seen in especially XCOM 2. So for example, Terminal here is very much a medic focused technical from XCOM 2. She's got a little drone upgraded with medical ability, she does medical stuff, otherwise she's a general support person. There was an option to pick someone else up who is the kind of more electronic-based technical person. You get options as you go on to slowly expand your squad, and there's a little bit of picking and choosing, so you can't get everyone in one run. I believe this is my final team that I've ended up with here, and they all do little bits of different things, and some characters are completely different classes. So Talk, as we saw before, there's really no equivalent to her. She's all about being one of the lovely serpent people, so she spits acid, she binds people, she's really dodgy. Verge here is our psychic dude, so very much along the lines of the sectoid classes, so he can do all sorts of things, slowly taking control of people, really nice abilities to force enemies to attack their friends, and he slowly builds up a little neural net, which he can then use to get better and better. Blue Blood here is a little bit more of a conventional character. If you go for a pistol type scout from XCOM 2, that's pretty much what he is. So you can see there is a little bit of choice in the abilities as you go down. Every other skill you get a choice, but it's just a choice of 2. And so there's a little bit of customization, but it's not a huge amount. So for instance, Terminal here I've got fully maxed out with all of her abilities. So I did have a choice here. I could have gone for Sustain or Pin Down. Sustain basically gives her an extra life if she would have died. Wanted that as a safety feature. If I preferred instead, I could have gone for this Pin Down ability, which is Suppressive Fire. So suppressing an enemy. Equally down here I get the option of either making the little robot that is buzzing around give people extra armor when I heal them, or I can make Terminal heal after each encounter, and I basically can heal her anyway, so I went for the other. There's certainly a little bit of flexibility there, but they're all your kind of specialization around a general theme. So for example here with Zephyr, my melee person, I gave her that kind of lockdown ability, so she gets free hits on nearby enemies. If I preferred, I could have gone on to pressure points, which means that all her attacks are non-lethal, so if you really want to capture a bunch of guys, that would be a really good option. So yeah, a lot less flexibility there, but a lot more unique faces. One thing I would say is a bit of a pity is there isn't too much purpose that I've come across of taking different people. It'd probably be a lot more efficient just taking your core squad, maxing them out. I've been mixing it up mostly for interest, but you don't really have to. There are certainly things we can do back at base. Every now and then we get this scavenger market, which lets me buy new fancy toys. This is one of the things we can spend intel for. So we're going to use them to get these fancy upgrades. I think I want to use them for something else instead, so I'm going to save my points now. I'm not desperate for any elite weapons. And the last little kind of campaign aspect is this city view. So this is taken over from the world view on previous XCOM games. We're no longer saving the world, we're saving a city. It's divided into these different districts, which do have their little panic levels, or unrest levels there. Now this isn't too bad. If one region does max out its panic level, it's not like it gets locked off like it did in the original Firaxis XCOM. Instead, what happens if for every district that is maxed out on its unrest, we start building up city anarchy. And if city anarchy gets full, you lose the game. But as you can see, I've been keeping this nice and low here, using a whole load of abilities that you've got at the bottom to manage this, and sending my people off to nice, useful targets. Now, what I want to do here is, we do have the option to put down these field teams. I've got these field teams in every one of the districts. Got 3 different kinds: finance, security, and technology. And there's a little bit of a trade-off that the more you invest in one type on the map, the more expensive it becomes. So it gives you reasons to kind of spread these around. They all do various things, they all give you different incomes. You get your income on a Friday, since every turn is a day here, no longer one turn a week. They start off pretty basic, just giving you a little bit extra income, but as you slowly go down, you get more bonuses. And I've recently unlocked the ability to be able to make these go all the way down to be fully maxed out here. Now what I want to do is, up here in Riverside, this is getting near to being maxed out on its little alert level. We're nearly at Friday. So what I can do is I can upgrade its security. This will mean that every Friday it automatically takes 2 off the unrest. I think that would be really nice to have. And essentially mean that Riverside is taking care of itself. In terms of what we do each day, we basically alternate. We had the missions before, which are those little acts where you go in, have an encounter and go back out. We also have these situations that occur once every other day. You don't actually play through these, but these are just a choice. Basically, whichever one we don't respond to, the unrest is going to increase with. But if we do respond to it, we get some rewards. So here, getting more intel. Mostly want to do this to avoid this going into the red. So there we go. So then the next day, see there we hit our Friday. So we get some more intel, more resources. Finished researching medkits. So I need to decide what I'm going to research next. Now, I actually want to pick this one up. This one seems pretty cool, actually. Allows 2 agents to be assigned as spec ops. I've got enough people lying around. That will actually be really useful. Because right now, I always have 1 person idle at the end of every turn. Now, I did just upgrade my medkit, so I'm going to buy a couple of those, share them around my people a little bit more than I have been doing. I've also got a bunch of cash in, so I'm going to upgrade, get some tracer rounds and trank rounds to help upgrade my people a little bit better. So we're going to give Cherub a medkit, give Godmother here a superior expanded magazine. She uses up a lot of ammo. My explosion guy here, Claymore, he's actually going to get some trank rounds, so he can disable people as well as, you know, exploding them horribly. And I'm going to give Zephyr a medkit, which probably needs something. Keep her going. But otherwise, that is the gameplay loop. And so you'll see here we've got missions. Missions are those much bigger versions that we're going to need to pay attention to. And then every now and then I do unlock the main mission. You can see down here the purple one. This is our actual objective here. What we are doing is trying to take down 1 faction at a time that are causing issues. And so what they do is every now and then this pops up. There are various things we can do to increase the rate that this pops up. And that'll give me a harder mission, generally a 3-stage mission as opposed to that 1-stage encounter we had before. And otherwise that just keeps looping again and again. It is very addictive. It is a different take on XCOM. It's pretty much the opposite of XCOM Long War, if you've ever played that mod. What XCOM Long War does is it really dials up the strategic factor, makes it a lot slower, a lot bigger. Many more people, but generally less specialised. You care less about each individual one. Much more depth to it. This seems a lot less depth, particularly on the strategic level. There are less choices you have to make. The choices you make are a little bit more easy and straightforward. Good for getting quickly into it, but then not quite as much in depth. So yeah, I don't know. I'm quite happy with this. I think I do prefer the regular XCOM and certainly the Long War mod. I have a huge amount of fun with. This is still definitely an interesting take on XCOM. If I remember rightly, it wasn't too expensive, especially not when it comes on sale, and these days it's on sale quite often. So if you are interested in XCOM and you just want a slightly different take on it, maybe do keep an eye out for the next Steam sale. If you very much think that Long War is better than any other type of XCOM, though, this might be a bit of a disappointment. Either way, let me know what you thought down below, and otherwise I hope to catch you for a future video. Till then, remember to be kind to yourselves and everyone else. Cheers.